People, it has been a very sad couple of days in the No Jumper universe. Now, before I get into this, okay, before I get to all of the gossip and all of the tea and all of the madness that's been going on behind the scenes, I just want to let everybody know, okay, the bounce back of No Jumper has been absolutely glorious, okay? They tried to count them out, all right? They tried to put them down. They tried to call it a Fed podcast. They said that it was over with, okay? The Ops said that No Jumper was finished. They said that the best hosts were gone, and it's still Free Brick. He's coming home soon. Who knows what's going to happen with 4 Extras? I hope 4 Extras comes back to No Jumper, but if he doesn't, at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of motion going around, right? That's an awful lot of motion at No Jumper, and it has been booming recently, okay? 6-figure view counts left, right, and center, and the drama never seems to stop. But this time, things might have gotten a little bit too far, okay? And look, I'm knowledgeable on the topic, all right? I'm knowledgeable on the topic when it comes to receiving a pressing from a Mr. Wack 100, all right? I've been pressed by Wack 100. I know what it feels like. It does not feel good to catch a pressing from the big dog himself, okay? But this time, things might have got a little bit too far, and I'm not sure, man. My boy, my OG, okay? My big OG, Adam22, the 22-ster, all right? I don't know. He might be out of his depth on this one, or maybe he's handling this situation perfectly. You will be the judge. You will let me know down in the comments, but we've got a whole lot of tea to get into, and I've just using this opportunity to catch up with you guys at the same time on all of the drama that's been going on, okay? So a new episode of No Jumper has dropped very recently, and it had one hell of a title. So look, here's the clip, here's the episode, it's all going off, okay, it's going viral, it's crazy. You see the fire, all right, when there's fire in the thumbnail, you know that it's fire content, but you also know that it's beef, that it's war, okay, it's, you know what I'm saying, it's fire for them, all right, it's peak. So this episode came out 2 days ago. I was listening to this in the car the other day, and my jaw hit the floor, right, my jaw hit the gas pedal. I nearly crashed into oncoming traffic, okay. Adam and Wack's worst argument yet. This might be our last episode. And then this is the clip. Adam and Wack get an insane argument about Adam interviewing Wack's op. Now look, all of this came off the back, no pun intended. All right, all of this came off the back of Adam linking up to do an episode with somebody who's had issues with Wack 100 in the past. Now this is a grave area. This is something that I personally would try and avoid myself, because I'm trying to keep on the good side of Wack 100, all right? I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep the cohesion at the table, and you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep you know what I'm saying? We're trying to keep the winner's table in a good place. But this person, Stan G, all right, he popped up on No Jumper, and he made an appearance, perhaps to the grave disappointment of Wack 100. This is somebody who apparently has had some historical issues with Wack. Now, he popped up on No Jumper. There's been a couple of clips, and I got to say, to be fair, all right, I'd not heard of Stan G before this, okay? I hadn't heard of him before this drama. This drama has got him onto my radar, okay? We're going to talk about that. Who knows? This could have been a play, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But there's a few clips that have been going viral, okay, from this incident. A couple of things, you know. Stan G on being on Jerry Springer, living with 2 women in one house. Stan G says black youngster is hiding after young Dolph's killing. There were a bunch of things that popped off in this interview that he did with Adam22. Now, I'm not seeing the full episode of it on No Jumper, even in the members only section, which I am a member, by the way, people. So get your memberships in, all right? Join the club. Members only, okay? But I'm not seeing the full episode. So I think ironically, it's very ironic that this is how it's all played out. But I think the behind-the-scenes conversations about this podcast have blown it far out of proportion to the point the full interview is not even available currently, even to the members, right? To the members, we haven't got access to this. Apart from those 2 clips that I just showed you that were going around, okay, there's been more talk about this podcast than the actual podcast itself circulating, which I think is very interesting. But in a very kind of ironic display, we've got a situation where what hasn't been said has ended up getting more attention than what was actually said. Now, look, a couple of clips there. Now, I don't know much about Stan G. I'm not necessarily in a rush. I got a lot of other content in my content media diet at the moment to consume. But I am interested in what Adam and Wack 100's relationship is like more than anything. I'm tuning into Adam and Wack show. That is premiere content. That is the flagship content on No Jumper that I'm tuning in for. And I'm only finding out about this from these guys. Okay? So what it turned out happened is Adam kind of put his foot in it by revealing that there was maybe some content, maybe there was some information in that full-length interview that I got to be very diplomatic, all right? I got to be very diplomatic. I'm not even trying to infer anything whatsoever. All I'm trying to say is that Adam essentially alerted Wack to maybe something that was in that interview that he wasn't going to like, or that Wack maybe wouldn't. This isn't somebody that Wack gets along with, full stop, right? So he's not even happy about him being on the podcast. He's not happy about him, eating, eating from the table that is so, so graciously popping off. Like the Adam and Wack show, this is top tier content. So Wack ain't even feeling having somebody that he has disagreements even coming over there. Okay, so that's first off. But information about this run-in was kind of drip-fed to the audience. Now, I don't think this was intentional. I think this is probably accidental. I know that Adam is an open book when it comes to talking about his life, talking about things. Sometimes you got to learn the hard way that Adam22 is an open book, and you know what I'm saying. He speaks openly about his life. I mean, he's a corn star, all right. Him and his wife, they're very open about all sorts of things on the internet. Okay, that's who he is. That's the man that we know and we love. But sometimes that comes with a little bit of baggage too. Okay, so Adam opened up in this episode of the No Jumper show. This is actually exactly a week ago. So this whole feud has been kind of brewing drip by drip feeding these little bits of information to the audience, and it's slowly brewed up. It's boiled up it started at a simmer, and it's now boiled up to a full-blown explosion where fire is being put into the thumbnails, and it may well be the end of the Adam and Wack show. But it was this episode of the No Jumper show where Adam kind of let it slip that something was said on the podcast that might have upset Wack, and I just want to say something here, okay? Adam revealed what was said. I feel like the way he talks about this is like a throwaway comment. He's not putting too much onus on it, but I do think that maybe accidentally, because I can totally see both sides of the fence on this situation, okay? I think he accidentally maybe put a slight intonation on a word that he shouldn't have, and maybe made something seem like it was worse or more nefarious than maybe it really was, okay? So I'm going to play you the clip, and we're just going to go to the context. I got to be very, very careful in this video, okay? I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. I'm just trying to get to the truth, trying to find out what's going on, just like the rest of you guys, okay? But this interview happened. Wack wasn't happy, and Adam decided to speak on it. Okay, let's look.
We just had Stan G on, and he keeps going like, "Oh man!" Like he said, he's super animated, making all these loud ass noises and shit.
Y'all bringing Clubhouse niggas
The
on?
dogs start freaking out. Yeah, what? You're not a Stan G fan? Because Wack was tripping about me bringing him on too.
Isn't that like an enemy of Wack's?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So look, Adam is acknowledging, okay, this is an enemy of Wack's that he brought on the show. Now let's be real. Adam brings all kinds of people onto the show, okay? This is part of the whole deal of No Jumper. It's open. They got Bloods, they got Crips, they got Hoovers, they got BDs, GDs, Vice Lords. Any gang that you can think of is probably getting representation on No Jumper. But when it comes to personal issues, that's where people begin to get upset. So it's already clear to everybody in the room that, this is probably not something that Wack's going to appreciate, okay? And, that isn't necessarily something that's going to stop Adam. But it's what he says next that kind of, created a little bit of created some tension.
Man, that is not an enemy, bro. These words is crazy.
Okay, podcasts or I guess digital adversary.
You got pod ops.
Yeah,
pod ops is crazy but real.
That's it.
So what was the main purpose on bringing Stan G on, knowing that Mr. 100 is finna?
Number one, I am an op lover. Number two, I have whoever on the podcast that I want to have on the podcast. And number three, he has an amazing personality, super deep knowledge of Memphis and down south rap politics. He was putting me on to all kinds of shit that I didn't know about. Like, he is out there doing the fucking homework when it comes to who gets along with who down south with all these big name rappers and shit that we don't really know who's beefing with who and shit. Like, he was telling me crazy shit. I think he got a great personality. I didn't even know that he had beef with Wack when I brought him on.
So, look, in Adam's defense, he's saying he didn't necessarily know that he had that much beef with Wack when he brought him on. But more importantly, what I think Adam's trying to say is that he to give him the benefit of the doubt, he didn't bring him on here to product Wack. He didn't bring him on here to annoy Wack or to offend Wack or to disrespect Wack. He brought him on here to speak on a whole bunch of other topics. And as we've seen, the Stan G clips that have been going around, that have been posted on No Jumper publicly, they're nothing to do with that. And he's talking on, Memphis music scene, being on Jerry Springer. It's not necessarily brought him on there just to get a Wack. But obviously, he's now discovering, he's now understanding why there is some tension there. But he does eventually get into exactly what the issue was.
And then Wack started tweaking a little bit. But, I mean, his whole thing, because he was talking, they'll see it on the podcast, but I guess he used to talk to R&B.
Okay, so, all right. Okay. This is where it all went down. And I don't think Adam realized how upsetting this might be. And I think maybe just the way that he said that, I probably didn't even intend it, but I feel like the way he said talk just made it sound maybe like there was more to the story than there was. And I don't think there's anything to the story whatsoever, but I think it's just the way that this came across and the way that it was delivered, it probably wasn't the best way to put it.
And then Wack started tweaking a little bit, but I mean, his whole thing, because he was talking, they'll see it on the podcast, but I guess he used to talk to R&B.
Oh.
Which he did not in any way say that they spent time together, but he said they used to talk.
Now, talk. Apparently, this is cap. I'm hearing this is cap anyway. This could be a play. But I think just the way that it was brought up in this conversation made it look bad, and I kind of get it. I kind of get why it might. I think the word "storm in a teacup" is a good way of describing it. To basically say that, I think this wasn't something where Adam was trying to create a big problem. He wasn't trying to infer anything. But I think the way that it went down in the room, it probably looked worse than it was. And clearly, this was something that Wack 100 felt was disrespectful. And he ended up calling into the show and having words with Adam, and things just escalated from there.
Well, Wack, he met the love of his life on Clubhouse. I thought millionaires just meet him in one of these rooms or Galleria Mall out there.
He's not a regular millionaire.
Thousandaire, right?
I don't know, but I'm just saying he ain't like.
Well, why niggas meeting females on?
Wack's definitely a millionaire. He got all sorts of businesses, man. When he says he's not a regular millionaire, he's talking about he's not a regular dude. He's a millionaire with a whole different perspective on life from a whole different backstory. He is a diamond in the rough as a millionaire. That's what he's saying, all right? So don't get it twisted. I don't think Wack's no thousandaire. I think Wack's a multimillionaire, whole bunch of businesses, from managing big artists, you know what I'm saying, being involved in all sorts of business. So again, I think it's just like little things just being kind of taken the wrong way and being taken out of context and maybe just made to sound bad. And bear in mind, Wack's the home team, all right? The big flagship show on No Jumper is the Adam and Wack show. That is the show. That is, you know what I'm saying? That is one of the most popping shows that has ever graced No Jumper, all right? It's a legendary show. Wack is a legendary individual. And when him and Adam22 collided, they created magic. It is one of the most legendary shows out here on the internet, all right? But yeah. The way this conversation went down obviously wasn't necessarily the right way to bring this up, but at the same time, Adam's an open book. Nothing's off limits with Adam, and that's part of the reason why people love him. It's also part of the reason why people hate him. But obviously, Wack would have been watching the show, I would assume, and he did end up calling in shortly after this, and he wanted to just make things crystal clear that even this statement that's been taken out of context that this person was talking to Wack's girl, that's cap. That's the way he puts it.
21 Savage or nobody meet no.
You talking about?
That dude ain't never talked to my woman. If he did, I wouldn't have nothing to say about it. But don't be disrespecting like that. That ain't cool, bro. Don't do that with your wife.
What did I say? All I said was that he said he used to talk to her.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's like a motherfucker coming up there making up lies about your wife, right?
So look, I've been pressed by Wack before, okay? I've been on the receiving end of a Wack pressing, and I've got to say, Wack, I tell you what, I don't think anybody stands on business like Wack. I mean, he damn near jumped through the screen. It took less than less than 180 seconds for Wack to digitally step into the room and get to pressing, okay? And you got to give Wack his respect, man. He stands on business. It was you could count the seconds that he was even going to let this violation slide. And look, Wack made things very clear, all right? It's cap. There weren't no talking going on. And he felt disrespected. He felt that this was a disrespect. I wonder whether it was really just the way that the topic was brought up that he felt disrespected by. Credit to Wack, he's setting the record clear, saying, ain't what it is. There weren't no conversation going on, and I wouldn't let nobody disrespect your wife. Now, again, I think what a lot of people have said, and I've seen people saying this in the comments in all types of different ways. But because Adam and his wife are such open books and they have got so much of their business, I mean, I don't think you could get more of your business on Front Street than Adam and Lena. And once again, that's exactly why we love them. We have this parasocial relationship. We want to know what's going on behind closed doors with them, with their relationship. You know what I'm saying? The corn industry that they got going on, it's obviously incredibly fascinating, and I love them both for that. All right, they're completely, everyone involved in this is a very unique individual. But Wack felt disrespected. Wack's not about that. Wack's from a whole different way of life. Wack ain't trying to have his relationship on Front Street like that. Maybe Wack gives out information about his relationship, and I believe we have seen R&B on the podcast, or she's definitely behind the scenes. I've met her, really, really nice person, and I wouldn't want to show any disrespect whatsoever. But I think you got two guys coming from very different ways of life and very different ways of managing their public relationships, and that's where the tension lies. And it's unfortunate because it's two people that we love from No Jumper coming at life and relationships from completely different sides of the tracks. And I think, unfortunately, the stubbornness of both Adam and Wack in this situation, Adam maybe not taking this too seriously because of the way he sees relationships. He's an open book. And then Wack is clearly a man that's very principled. He's very honorable. And as you see, it was only a matter of seconds before he was standing on business and not letting anyone disrespect his wife or their relationship or the sanctity of their relationship. And that's where it all stems from. And it just spiraled from there.
Well, obviously it would be like that since it's exactly the same thing. But I'm just saying that I was just repeating what he said on the podcast.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's making up lies. If it was real, I ain't got nothing to say. Everybody got their past, but that's my point right there, right?
I think that's really important as well to just acknowledge what Wack says. He's saying if that was true, it's the past. That's nothing. That's nothing to even care about. But he's saying, look, it's not true. It's made up lies, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be broadcast. It shouldn't be stood on. It shouldn't be allowed. And from what I understand, obviously, I don't think that full interview has come out, but I believe a conversation maybe has happened, and it's been agreed that, look, if this is a lie, it's not going to be going into the interview. But still, it's the disrespect. It's feeling slighted that this has even been brought up. The way that it's been brought up, it's upset Wack. Adam's not really trying to hear it, right? And so from here, in this interview to the next numerous podcasts, this has been dragged on, and it's resulted in this massive blowout.
It's real, I ain't got nothing to say. Everybody got their past, but that's my point right there, right? Is a motherfucker come to a platform that I work at and just start lying. If it was real, I ain't got nothing to say. On Pyro.
But why would I not believe him when he said?
You heard him. He said on Pyro, if it's real, he ain't got nothing to say. But it's not true. He wants to set the record straight. Adam's not really kind of sympathizing with Wack at this point.
Does that?
Hey, yo, you know what? R&B. I'm gonna let him tell you. This nigga. You're talking about y'all used to talk like Adam. It ain't the truth, bro. If it was the truth, I wouldn't have nothing to say, bro.
Well, if that's true, then for sure we need to politic that. But that's just what he said.
I'm not gonna politic if something gonna happen. I'm telling you, as a man, it's not true, bro. If it was true, I wouldn't have nothing to say, bro. But it's not cool, bro. I respect your wife, bro. Respect my
This doesn't have anything to do with mine. But I'm just saying, if he came on the podcast and he said that.
Making up shit about yours, saying
but I'm not making up anything about her. I'm just repeating what I was told, which I didn't have any reason to not believe.
Nigga really like playing the game like Stan, you and Stan used to talk. And this nigga really playing that game like it's cool, bro.
Yeah, that's not.
It's not cool, bro. The dead homies. That's not.
And I think you can hear R&B in the background saying that's not it. That's not cool. It's not true. It's not happening. And he's not feeling it.
Cool, bro. That's not okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what he told me. I was just saying what he told me. If it's not true, then for sure that's fucked.
So I think at this point, Adam's maybe not realizing maybe how serious this is, or just like how personally slighted Wack feels that, Adam's kind of used No Jumper to maybe broadcast something that he doesn't believe is true. And, it's kind of redistributing some information that maybe Wack feels shouldn't be even put out there at all.
Like that.
You not understanding what I'm saying, bro?
So you think he's just lying about it to get under your skin?
I know he lying, bro. This nigga, we made him on Clubhouse.
So this is important too, right? Because he's saying, look, I don't think I know that he's lying. And if we're talking about this in context of Stan G being an enemy of Wack 100, they've had disagreements in the past, you know, they're not cool with each other. I don't know a lot about Stan G. Like I said, this is the first I'm hearing about him. I don't know his credibility on these kind of issues, but from what Wack's saying, it's not true. And he's saying we shouldn't be broadcasting this if it's not true.
We made his character. This nigga's a bum. Like, bro, we got videos. This nigga shitting his drawers, cracked out.
What?
He's a bum. He's homeless.
Send the video.
We know every bitch he fuck with 300-pounders.
We need to see, we need that video.
I got look. Wack is hilarious. I gotta give it to Wack. Right, even when he's pissed off, he can still be entertaining. He's coming with the jokes and he's roasting. Okay, and, look, 300-pounders is crazy.
Video then.
You can go find this nigga on Jerry Springer with 9 kids he ain't paying for. That's him. You to be up really breathing life into that, it just ain't cool on some man shit.
Well, no, now if you're saying that he's lying, then I'm like, okay, well then we got to address that. But why would you think that I would just assume that it was a lie? I don't fucking know.
Hey, you know what, bro? I'll holler at you, bro. I'll holler at you, homie.
Okay. Jeez.
That is a crazy lie to make up. If that's like a
Okay,
lie,
but all he
like,
said was that he
that's
used to
fucking
DM
crazy.
her.
Hold on.
And that's a different story. Talking, DMing, sending a DM, sending a bunch of unanswered DMs, that's a whole different story, okay? But we don't know. We haven't seen those DMs. We don't know what the situation is. But as far as Wack's saying, look, it's not true. Now, the other thing that was going around this time, and I believe this was actually afterwards, where essentially there was this clip going around, and people were claiming that this was actually Adam in the midst of receiving text from Wack about the situation, deleting the video. Now, maybe the video was up and then it was deleted or it was edited. I can't see it and I haven't seen the full video. But people are circulating this clip saying this is Adam receiving some serious text from Wack. And I know what this feels like because I've received some difficult messages from Wack before, and you feel that stress. You get the stress, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. Trust me. I took it worse. I took it much worse. Adam's a far more cool and calm and collected character than I am. And when you're in the midst of a Wack 100 pressing, it honestly feels like the walls are caving in on you and the whole world is crashing down. I don't envy Adam, all right? I don't envy Adam being in that situation. When Wack's standing on business, you just got to stay out the way, man. You just got to stay out the way. You got to curl up into a ball. I mean, people are saying that's Adam looking stressed. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He could be distracted. You know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of tension relief there. But yeah. Now, so another aspect of this I thought was very interesting was that obviously we're familiar with seeing Wack 100 pop up on No Jumper. You know, he's an all-star cast member. When Wack pops up on No Jumper, we sit up and take notice. We listen. And, you know, but don't get it twisted. Wack's got his own platforms. Wack's got his own platforms that he can speak on. Obviously, he felt slighted that Stan G was given a platform on No Jumper to kind of spread something that he thought was disrespectful and untrue. But I feel like, you know, it's serious when Wack's then taken to his own platforms. And soon after this appearance, he appeared on his own channel. You know, he's got the 100 show on YouTube. So, you know, make sure you go and subscribe there. Obviously, Wack 100 is legendary for his appearances on Clubhouse. He's got all sorts of megaphones that he jumps on. Obviously, he's got his own Instagram, 100 side, all sorts of different platforms that Wack has to communicate to the people. And I think this was very interesting that he would essentially... you know, take to his own platform and essentially just let it be known that he wasn't happy. And he actually explained how he almost felt like allowing this to happen sort of devalued the brand of No Jumper, and sort of said, you know, how is he letting just anybody come up to No Jumper these days? Now, I just thought that was interesting. You know, this was a clip that I hadn't seen in too many other places. It's on Wack's platform, and I thought it's important to just make sure that we get, you know, a fair shake on Wack's side of the story here and hear what he had to say on his own platform. Clearly, this was something he was upset about, he was disagreeing about, and, you know, he'd taken to numerous platforms to set the record straight.
No Jumper as a whole, I think if I just got to sit back and gauge what I'm seeing, and not just with No Jumper, this whole podcast thing is going through like a whole nother type of twist, a whole nother type of realm of things. When you look at the people that were socially accepted in one era, at one point, pre-Adam, when Adam started, and then up to now, it's totally different.
You really don't need no credentials. You just need a gimmick, some stories, a phone. You can tap into the right dude, and they can get a crowd looking your way. You know, a good lie, you know, the perfect lie jumpstarts you. You know, we've seen that with a couple dudes. I ain't gonna say their name, but I believe y'all know. I didn't expose one or two of them myself as far as came on here to be a personality lying on people and telling stories about people that you know that's really not on the internet. But the people of the world, they got an appetite for destruction, an appetite for negativity. They rather dance in the dark than walk under the sun. The sun is too boring. You know, you can see everything. You know, it's a little more interesting, or shall I say, a little more adventurous to straddle the tracks on that dark side of things. And I get that. You know what I'm saying?
So again, this is just interesting, right? So Wack is essentially kind of saying that, you know, maybe what I feel like he's saying, really reading between the lines here, is that, like, you know, at a certain point, there's been different eras of No Jumper. The bar, as far as who's allowed in that building and who's allowed to get onto that platform, has kind of risen and fallen, you know, at different periods. You know, sometimes the bar's high. Right now, the brand is high and the value's high, and I feel like, you know, someone like Wack 100, all of the great hosts, even from, you know, 4Extras, Brick Baby, all of these great hosts that have come through the doors at No Jumper, I'd say they've risen the value of the brand. Like having Wack on the show, the Adam and Wack show, I think, you know, that's if this was the record industry, that would be a diamond selling album. You know what I'm saying? That would be it's a diamond podcast. Like Wack increases the value of No Jumper by being on there. And obviously we love No Jumper as one of the most valuable platforms in the hip hop game. But what Wack's saying is that kind of, you know, people have been allowed on there to, as he said, you know, with an appetite of destruction, an appetite for negativity, to hop on there, dance in the dark, and, you know, maybe spread things that aren't true to get a little bit of attention, to get a little bit of play. And, you know, to essentially put things out there, information that maybe is sensational, maybe isn't true, maybe dances along the borders of what is and isn't true. And at the end of the day, look, we all love somebody to hop on the show and tell a crazy story. I mean, you know, it's not a No Jumper story, but someone like Jaguar Wright, she's jumped on interviews, said some of the craziest stuff, a lot of things maybe that have been proven not to be true. But we still love to hear some of those theories, right? But when it comes to this kind of personal slighting towards Wack, he obviously took that very personally, and I feel like he feels like even allowing that to happen almost devalues the brand of No Jumper.
The term everything is content, well, to a certain extent it is, because podcasting and YouTubing comes down to who can get what information first and who can give, whose opinion would trigger the masses to having a counter opinion. Because from that, we got content. You know, you guys are entertained. You know, you guys are able to go from this channel to that channel and hear this perspective versus that perspective. You know, once every blue moon, we get two people on the same stage or on the same screen or stream yard at the same table, but we can watch them together. You know, more than likely, it's going to be he said this, he said that, he said this, he said that. Y'all not slow. It's a bunch of people out there that if other people weren't doing content, they simply wouldn't have no content.
So yeah, so Wack's basically saying, look, there's all kinds of different people. They're coming on, they're giving their different opinions. Some people lying, some people telling the truth, but we're bringing both sides, and that's what No Jumper's all about. That is the content, and some people do crazy things for content.
You got a lot of people that if it wasn't for the Wack 100s or the No Jumpers or the Floccos, right? You know, it's different YouTubers out here. It ain't a whole lot of us that's could get on here like I get on here or like Flocko get on there, and he's the lead of that story. There's people that wait till No Jumper goes off, I go off, Flocko go off, Academic goes off, you know, Vlad Trap, you know what I'm saying? And then they take their content and then they sit there, play it, edit it on the screen and sit there like this. Yeah, such and such was on No Jumper with Wack 100 and him and Adam had this to say. And they press play for 12 minutes. And then they say, yeah, man, I really don't agree, man. Yo, chat, what y'all think? Hold on, what else they say? Another 2 minutes. Whole clip, 17 minutes. They did 3 minutes of saying nothing. Put it up.
Now, he's describing what we're doing right here. Now, I'd like to think I'm not playing 12 minutes of it, but he's basically he's talking about what's going on here, right? He's talking about these conversations that take place here, people talking about what happens and, you know, making their content around it. Realistically, a lot of people are eating off of this table. You know, a lot of people are following the leader. You know, really, Adam and Wack and No Jumper, you guys are the leaders, and there's a lot of people that are following. And, you know, we're very grateful. We're very gracious as far as, like, you know, being part of that ecosystem. But yeah, what Wack is essentially saying is that, you know, people shouldn't be allowed to basically, you know, use that as a place to kind of spread lies and to spread disrespect that go against the people that, you know, have built that table and are at the top of that table. So Wack goes on to basically break down the fact that, you know, some people can make content about all types of different things. Other people, they can only make content about other people. Look, I'll throw my hands up and say I'm one of these people. I'm somebody. Look, my life's actually pretty boring, to be honest with you. I'm a nerd. I'm sat here in this room watching, consuming everything else that's going on and talking about it and breaking it down. I like to think that I bring something interesting to the table as far as maybe digging a little bit deeper into certain details that other people wouldn't be so interested to look into. That's kind of my thing. Like I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd for details. That's my whole thing. But what Wack is eventually going to go on to say is that he's kind of disappointed in Adam, and he feels like he's maybe devolved a little bit down to becoming kind of what some of us other people are doing rather than being the leader. If you get what I'm saying, you'll hear what he says here.
Am I upset at Adam? Negative. Am I mad at Adam? No. Am I disappointed? A tad bit. Am I looking at him some kind of way? As a brother, I can't see him as nothing but a brother. And as a man, he gonna make his own decisions. And as a man, I'm gonna feel whatever way I'm gonna feel about the decisions. You know, it's gonna come a time where I make a decision. You know what I'm saying? And only thing I can say is take it in stride. Adam22 is loyal to the growth of his company. If violating you a little bit or violating somebody a little bit brings the content, and the content is contributed to the No Jumper channel, then that's contributing to the growth of his channel. And if it's a lie, if it's a little degrading, if it's making a little fun of you, right? In his mind, it's conversation, which is content. It's content what goes on the channel. Content on the channel drives the numbers. The numbers support the growth of the channel. The growth of the channel reports back and reflects on the owner of the channel, which is Adam. So as a businessman, I get it, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? You know, they say all money ain't good money, but shit, money is money.
So again, I feel like this is why this is interesting, because I've seen other breakdowns on this situation. I've seen people maybe not look so much into Wack's perspective as they could have done. And I feel like what he's trying to say, and the reason why he feels slighted, even though I can see both sides, is that I feel like he feels like Adam has basically let somebody kind of come to the table and, you know, just kind of like, in his words, you know, tell some lies and create some sensationalism. And it is good for it is good for business. Unfortunately, but I feel like Wack feels like he maybe deserved to be treated a little bit better because of the status that he has at No Jumper, because of perhaps the friendship as well as the numbers that he brings. Wack just being on No Jumper brings numbers. Like, Wack is a rainmaker when it comes to interesting content, interesting personalities, all that kind of thing. But I think he felt personally slighted by this, and he goes on to talk about this in this video some more, you know, and he's talking about different situations and kind of, you know, that he's made adjustments in his life, that he's put his neck out to look out for Adam, and you know, he's done a lot for Adam, and he basically feels like he didn't deserve to be treated like this. So look, this is essentially the way that Wack sees it. Now, as we can see, there's clearly a difference of opinion. And essentially, this difference of opinion that was pre-existing, this tension that had happened, that was clearly boiling under the surface prior to this episode of the Adam and Wack show, this is what it was all about. So once this showdown actually took place, once this all went down, we would ultimately see, you know, these two meet face to face. They'd already had these stern words on the phone in that interview. I assume they probably spoke offline. I assume probably messages and texts were exchanged too. But obviously, this is what we were all waiting for. And, you know, the argument and the confrontation was explosive. And we ultimately saw them just go to war in this episode. It was crazy.
God, right.
You called me during that podcast upset because I interviewed someone.
Disappointed, but you know, you got it. That's you.
Stan G.
So Wack, just to be clear, yeah, Wack is being consistent from his own video that we just saw on his own channel. He was just saying he felt disappointed at the way that his personal relationship and these rumors were being brought up and used as content. And he's been consistent. And, you know, he starts this, you know, he seems a little irritated, but he starts this, you know, fairly calm and is consistent with what he said before.
Of Memphis. A clubhouse personality who I believe you used to be on good terms with.
No, bro, this is the dude.
You guys were cool.
No, bro, you missed
There was
the
a
point.
fallout.
No, it wasn't no fallout. You missing the point. On Clubhouse, it's just like pod, right? You got your upper echelon people. No matter what room they go into, they get pulled up, they get acknowledged, give them a bean, what's up? You can take over the room, right? Then you got your bums. The dudes that didn't call lying is just a troll and shit like that, right? This dude had been, I sent you the shit. This dude had been caught doing all kind of weird shit. So, for him to like intentionally like disrespect my queen was crazy. Like,
okay,
but you know, that's
I
what
don't
you want
feel
to
like he actually did that because you are on my ass about me interviewing someone who he made it clear that he never hung out with R&B.
Hey, bro, you got blind ass Munchie B bitch ass talking about
spoke to her.
R&B live in Mississippi. R&B been in Vegas 25 years. The fuck are you talking about? You know these niggas is running.
I didn't know that.
What do you mean you didn't know that? She been in Vegas 25 years.
I didn't know that. I always hear about Mississippi.
That's where she from. Remo from Mississippi.
So she's been in Vegas since she was 20?
No, since she was 15 and she went to Utah and came back to Vegas.
Okay. What the fuck was she doing in Vegas?
That's where her family went to.
Well, so look, so again, I feel like we just want to make this clear, right? I feel like Adam's maybe not realizing how irritated Wack is about what's being spread. Adam's maybe taken a few things at face value without so much scrutiny, and that's why Wack's upset. I get the impression that Adam feels like maybe this is being blown out of proportion, and I feel like on the flip side of that, I feel like Wack is frustrated that Adam's not really understanding that he feels this is a reasonable proportion and that it's disrespectful to his woman, and that is really a fatal violation in his eyes. And again, I feel like you're seeing this is one of the nerdiest things I could possibly say, but I feel like we're almost seeing like a supply and demand graph that's out of whack. I feel like the Adam's supply of respect is a little bit out. Adam's supply of respect is in a deficit to the respect that Wack feels he should demand on the demand side. All right, this is the nerdiest thing I've ever said. We're going economics, right? We're using economic theory to explain this beef on No Jumper. But Wack is demanding a level of respect that Adam, at least currently, based on the information that he has and the opinion that he has, he's not willing to supply. I feel like that's the best way that I could put it. And so Adam, again, like in this deficit of his supply of respect or understanding, he kind of goes on to, I don't know if he's intentionally trolling Wack here, but he's basically saying like he kind of thought it was fun and he thought that, the Stan G content was interesting and it's something that he thought was a good fit for the show. And again, he's not realizing the level of demand that is being, that is the level of respect that Wack is demanding of him when it comes to even just treating this as a serious topic of conversation.
I think Stan G got a lot of personality. I think he's a smash hit as a host. I could see him being a whole thing.
Okay.
But okay, so do you want me to show you the clips of him? Because I think that's a good compromise. I show you the clips of him talking about her on this podcast, and you are able to debunk them and state your opinion in real time.
I'm not gonna do. Listen, you're a white boy that think you in control.
No, I'm trying to offer you an option since you clearly want me to remove those clips from his interview.
You're a white dude that think you in control.
So I think the white dude in control thing is I think that's a little bit, again, this is a little bit of a distraction from what's really going on. Is I think Adam's not realizing how, like, Wack doesn't even think this should be a topic of conversation. I think Adam's feeling like, oh, well, you should kind of come and debunk these things that Stan G has said. And I think that, again, Wack is trying to say that he's above that. Wack is essentially saying, I'm above even having to debate this. Wack's frustrated that this is even a topic of conversation. Wack is viral. Wack can come up with barely anything that comes out of Wack's mouth can be viral, okay? His opinion on any topic, any day of the week can be viral in itself. So he doesn't need this. He doesn't need a Stan G feud to be viral and have something interesting to say on the Adam and Wack show. As much as this is viral, whatever the conversation, they could be talking about 4Extra, they could be talking about Brick Baby, Big U, whatever it is, it's going to be viral. But again, I feel like just because this is the content that Adam's on this week, clearly Adam was charmed by Stan G in other ways on other topics, and Adam can kind of see the value in that, and Wack's not seeing the value in that. And again, that's why it's this deficit of supply and demand of respect is going to cause a serious shortage of good vibes in this podcast. That's the only way I can describe it. And the next thing, I feel like Wack kind of infers that he's looked out for Adam and that his patience is kind of wearing thin, and he's kind of he's kind of saying, well, look, if you're not going to stick your neck out to defend the respect for my woman and my relationship, then I'm not going to stick my neck out to look out for you in any other situations that arise, right?
And I'm a strong believer to every action is a reaction, right? You do it how you want to do it. We all men. Now, if sometimes it's a reality check, because what comes around goes around. Now, I done been in the seat several times. I just don't say nothing to you. I do what I'm supposed to do as a brother because I know how you feel about certain things. And it's real shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it was one dude a couple weeks ago that was upset, and I had to kind of talk him down. I believe he called you too, right? And I said, bro, you took that wrong. Bro didn't mean that like that. He just,
Who?
yo presentation. You know what I mean? When he said what he said, he didn't mean that like that. And I'm like, but that was going on right there. That can't happen, bro. Let that be, right? And I'm gonna leave that like that, right? And I'll show you I'll show you, right? But it's obvious, it's cool. Sometimes it's just it's an eye opener. Me, I thought you would have had more respect for her than letting the nigga run a fake narrative.
What have I done that is disrespectful towards her?
I mean, anytime you let a motherfucker come on a motherfucking platform and run a fake, if it's real, it's real, homie. The truth can never be considered disrespect.
What is the fake part, though?
If it's real, it's real. But
he didn't say that they ever hung out.
He ain't never seen her in his life.
He didn't say that they ever hung out with each other.
Hey, let me ask you something.
He didn't say that. Let me ask you something. All he said was that they used to speak online.
Let me ask
which
you
really Clubhouse is all people speak.
Watch this. That's what I'm saying. You ain't catching him. Right? You came to my room, right? Like 500 people in there, right?
Okay.
All them people was asking you questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can all say, I talked to Adam.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I talked to Adam, right? But you were just answering random motherfucking questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know these motherfuckers. It wasn't nothing like. But when a motherfucker come like that and say like that, he know what he's attempting to insinuate.
Because he did say that they used to speak in some private rooms as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, and at the end of the day, dude is the bum of the app. He's on Jerry Springer because he's got 9 kids he don't take care of.
So again, just to make it clear, so there's almost like this is two people having a conversation about the same thing, but they're just on slightly different wavelengths. And Wack's just trying to describe that. Essentially, he's trying to say that, look, this insinuation it was the disrespect, and Adam's feeling like, I didn't really insinuate anything. I don't think Adam meant to insinuate anything, but when this first came up and he said, he used to talk, I think just the context of the room that he was in, the way that it went down, the way that it was received in that room, it made it worse than it was. And I haven't seen the original clip. Wack hasn't seen the original clip. Adam seems to believe, from being there, that maybe it wasn't as serious as it's been broadcast across. But again, these are two people in complete misalignment, and it's going to explode. In the next 10 minutes, it's going to explode, okay? And I'm not going to play the entire thing up until that point, but I'm just going to skip ahead to the most crazy moments, and we're going to see the explosion.
Thing with my woman with 7 niggas, talk about it, expose it, blow it up, is real. But to allow a motherfucker to hit the table and speak something, and it really ain't about me. It's like really was kind of a disappointment to her. She like, damn, I thought me and Adam was cool, but cool.
But again, you just went on like a really long speech that didn't answer the question, which is, what did I do, or what do you think that I did that was disrespectful to her?
You ain't did nothing.
Well, then that negates everything that you just said.
No, you ain't did nothing. But what I'm saying is, as a street nigga, if you don't do nothing, I ain't did nothing. Ain't nobody doing nothing. We just leave it right there.
Okay, so we don't have to watch.
He's kind of saying, like, look, you ain't going to do nothing to stick up for me in this situation. I ain't going to do nothing to stick up for you in other situations. And it's kind of like he's not getting it. All right. Adam's not getting it. Adam's not getting Wack's point of view. Wack's not getting Adam's point of view. And Adam's being belligerent to Wack. I think he's prodding Wack a little bit, maybe unintentionally, because he's not seeing his side. He's kind of saying, what you're saying doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. And he's not clocking. It's not anything that Adam said. I think this is the thing. It's like Adam's not done anything. Adam hasn't said anything disrespectful, but it's his position and it's the broadcasting of this whole situation that has been taken as disrespect from what I see.
Respecting my woman. You told me, bro.
You just said that I didn't disrespect
You told me, bro, listen.
I just want you to be rational and give me a real answer, because I'm not trying. Why do you keep talking? I have to figure out.
I'm not going to be rational,
I have to figure out a way in which I can put this content out that is not going to upset you. Why are you getting all heated and shit? What is this?
I'm not with it, homie. Respect that. I'm telling you, I'm not with it, bro. It's a disrespect.
But what is the disrespect? Why can't you answer this question like a grown up?
Come on here and lie on my woman.
What was the lie?
Whatever he said.
Everything. You know, without me telling you what he said, that it's a lie.
She don't fuck with the dude. Nobody does.
But he didn't say that.
Period.
He didn't say he hung out with her.
Let's move on, dog. On some real, because I don't do it with your wife.
But do you realize?
You told me, bro. You told me certain things not to do, and I don't do.
You realize how much you're making it seem like you have something to hide by being so protective about this? You won't even let me
check this out,
You won't even let me tell you what he said.
I don't give a.
But you want it removed from the interview.
You can do what you want to do with it. Just
but
don't
you
be
won't
mad.
tell me
just
not
don't
to
be
put
mad
it out.
when I do what I do.
You're threatening me
I'm not
if I put it out, but you won't tell me
I'm not threatening
what
shit.
I'm allowed to put out and not put out.
I'm telling you, it's disrespectful.
What?
My woman feels disrespected.
No, stop. That part. Why?
If I came on here and said you were sucking, if I came on here and said, hey, we got footage of Adam sucking the.
Just making up a random. That's like the most random thing you possibly say.
It's the same shit.
Am I not allowed to tell you what he said?
Hey, bro, that's between you and him, bro.
No, it's not. It's between me and you. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what you're going to be cool with and what you're not going to be cool with.
I'm not.
You can see where this whole situation could have been avoided if this was kept offline, and that this is the thing. No Jumper and Adam is an open book, and I think I doubt Adam thought that it was even going to go this far, and unfortunately it did, and it just continued blowing up from there, and you can see Wack's getting very frustrated. He's annoyed that Adam's not supplying the level of respect that he's demanding, and Adam feels like he has essentially not really done anything deserving of this level of frustration.
I'm cool with none of it.
You're not cool with anything, and you won't even let me tell you what it is.
I'm not cool with none of it, bro. But antagonize fires because you ain't been fucked up yet.
You don't think I've been
No, you ain't been fucked up yet.
Why not?
You keep playing the way you playing and mixing how you mixing, because I'm watching what's going on in the streets like a motherfucker.
I think it's pretty obvious who's being the more mature person here.
It ain't got nothing to do with me. Listen,
okay, think about
got nothing to do with me.
Wack, this is my platform.
Obviously, got nothing to do with me. I'm just telling you.
Why won't you let me talk? It's my platform. Obviously, I could just put this content out,
what you do,
and it
bro.
is what it is.
Do what you do.
I'm offering you to have the ability to review the conversation that I had, so you can tell me if you're comfortable with it coming out or not. And you're being so immature that you won't even let me tell you what was said. Now we can cut that out of the podcast. We don't have to include it for them to see. But the fact that you won't even hear me out in terms of what was said,
this all I'm gonna tell you about.
Really kind of shockingly
I'm gonna tell you something about being immature, right?
So look, Adam's basically saying, look, I'm giving you the opportunity to address what's going on. Wack doesn't feel like he should even have to address this. He didn't even feel like he should be in this conversation at that level.
Trying to have an adult conversation with you, and instead you're like threatening me and kind of making it like, oh, like there's other bad stuff that was going to happen that I stopped, and that stuff might actually happen. It's like, what's with all this spooky shit?
Keeping it real.
Why don't you let me just say what he said?
I don't want to talk about it.
Like, look at the extent to which you're protesting me telling you what he said.
Either you gonna respect it or you not, bro.
Okay, so either I take out a significant chunk of his interview because this thing that you don't even know what it is offensive.
She shouldn't have never been mentioned. She shouldn't have never been mentioned.
Perfectly happy. Why?
Why? That's the question.
Imagine you were interviewing somebody and they said, I used to talk to Lena.
And he capping.
No. Because he did used to talk to her, right?
No.
Okay.
That's what you ain't understanding. The whole shit is a cap. It's a troll at me and my woman, and you playing with the shit.
Even though you guys were in clubhouse rooms together for all
Bro, when that nigga...
So that, look, again, I feel like, once again, it's just that we are going around in circles, but this is the root of it. It's Wack is saying it's cap. Adam is saying, is there not... Adam's almost saying, like, on a literal level, is there not some truth on the most molecular level of talking to, as in being in the same clubhouse room together, and Wack's just not having it. So Wack eventually goes on to say, look, he would and he has kind of given Adam the same courtesy that he feels he's not receiving.
At the time, Wack, although you think you're bullshitting, he's taking it another way. I seen the seriousness in your eyes, right? So you know what I did? I'm gonna respect my partner, bro, and get off that shit. Oh, I didn't say.
Let me tell you why that's not a really good comparison.
What you mean? You don't remember that?
I do remember that.
Okay,
that was us having a conversation. You said something that was offensive to me. I told you I felt like it was offensive, and then we removed it from the podcast. You let it go, whatever.
Watch this.
This is different because I'm telling I'm telling you that there's a podcast.
It's offensive.
In which somebody spoke about your girl.
So your offensive supposed to mean more than mine.
You won't even hear out what you said.
You didn't hear out what I wanted to say.
I have to delete it from the fucking podcast or not.
You could do what you want to do, man.
But do you realize that you could do whatever you want to do. You could do whatever you want to do. I'm just not going to listen to you because I'm too immature to have a grown conversation.
If I was immature,
imagine wanting to be in business with someone who acts like a fucking 5-year-old.
If I was immature, I would.
This is the worst argument I've ever seen them have. Like, it is the most serious, severe argument I've ever seen, and like, I feel like they're both tripping. I'm not saying who's in the right or who's in the wrong, but I feel like they're both tripping on a level that this is like seeing two OGs that you really look up to have a crazy disagreement, and it's kind of heartbreaking, if I'm honest with you.
Would have been in tripped. Who's being immature right now?
You are tripping.
How many times did you tell me you was offended?
I mean, like once maybe.
And it was over with, right?
Right.
So why I gotta say it 20 times, bro?
But you don't even know what it is, Wack.
I don't think
you won't even let me tell you what the fuck he said about it, but you're acting so offended. You are acting like the most insecure possible partner in this situation.
Did you just hear what you just said?
What?
Whatever an op got to say about mine, I don't never want to hear, bro. What the fuck you don't get?
So look, the back and forth went on for quite a while. A lot of different examples were brought up. Things kind of simmered down to a certain point, and thankfully the podcast was able to end on slightly more positive terms. I got to shout out my guy Poetic Flacco. Flacco even stepped in, man. He came through to press Adam. He came through to stand on business on behalf of Wack 100. You know what I'm saying? And, basically just join that Stan G hate brigade. And, you know what I'm saying? Fair play for Flacco, man. You know what I'm saying? He's standing on business. He's telling Adam how he feels.
Well, listen, I'm here to press Adam, man, for backdooring my nigga Wack. You feel me? No ops, man. Bro, the outlaws gotta stop today, man. Bro, again, I fuck with Stan G. But Stan G last YouTube video was a month ago with 400 views.
And we're gonna change that.
You wanna go fight a nigga.
When I found you were getting 400 views a month.
Stan G ain't no goddamn Flacco.
You feel me?
Stan G ain't no Flacco, bro.
Where do you get those crazy ass shoes?
Bro.
Ain't hard, though.
You got some floral Balenciagas on.
No, Gucci Balenciagas.
Gucci Balenciagas, okay.
Hey, bro.
So look, there you have it, man. The episode kind of came to a conclusion there, and at the end of the day, things got very heated, but they did simmer down. I wonder what the latest is. I'm kind of waiting for an update. Obviously, the next episode of the Adam and Wack show is going to be absolutely crazy. There's been a debate. It came up on the next episode of the No Jumper show. Flacco kind of changed his tune on the next episode of the No Jumper show, and he felt like things were kind of 50-50, even split as far as the disagreement. And I agree. I can kind of see both sides of it. But at the same time,
Speaking of betrayal,
Ooh.
people are accusing Adam of betraying Wack, but I kind of seen this as like 50-50, right? There's like a lot of people who saying that Wack was wrong, and people are saying that Adam is wrong. So,
what even happened? I saw the headline, but I didn't
watch the clip. So essentially, there's a dude named.
So look, some people are seeing it as 50-50. Some people are taking Wack's side. Some people are taking Adam's side. I don't know where this is going to go from here. I don't know if it's going to get worse. It was briefly addressed today on the latest show. This was only a few hours ago. And I think we're all just waiting on tenterhooks to try and just try and get to the truth of what's going on and just trying to work out how serious this situation is. Does this mean that the Adam and Wack show could truly be in peril, or is this really just a blip? Is this just a road bump? Is Stan G going to be cast out to the outskirts of No Jumper and not invited back? We don't know, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's at the very least it's simmered down a little bit now.
Basically, for anybody who hasn't seen it, on the episode with me and Wack, we got into a huge argument. I interviewed a guy named Stan G from Memphis. Very entertaining character.
Can I ask you what made you interested into even interviewing him in the first place?
Yeah, Stan is
how did he get on your radar?
He's a Clubhouse user. He's a YouTuber. He's very funny, very entertaining.
Did you find out he was funny before or after you got on camera?
I knew he was funny before. That's why I agreed to interview him. But then I got him lined up. We're about to have him on the podcast. Wack starts tapping in because Stan is talking about the fact that he's about to be on the podcast on his Instagram story. Wack hits me. Why are you interviewing Ops? Why are you having this dude on who doesn't get...
Look, I'll leave it there, man. I've rambled on a little bit too much in this one. I know the last couple of videos that I've posted here have been a little bit too long, but I personally have been fascinated in these stories. We you know what I'm saying? We might need Wack 100 to just check who's coming through the doors at No Jumper going forward, man. No more ops allowed entry. You know what I'm saying? We might need to get some sort of op detector at the doors. Maybe like a chart of the people that Wack doesn't rock with that can't come through the door, can't say certain things. But yeah, what do you guys think, man? Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this feud. It's low-key heartbreaking to see Adam and Wack kind of go into war about all of these situations. But at the same time, at the end of the day, could it be a play? It has been incredibly viral. No Jumper has had back-to-back viral moments in recent weeks, recent months, and the train doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. The views are going crazy. The feuds are going out of control. Let's just hope everything just remains peaceful. We're pushing peace. We're pushing positivity in the podcast space. That's a whole lot of P. We're pushing a whole lot of P up in here. So anyway, I appreciate that. Hope you like that video. Look, sorry if these videos are getting too long. Let me know down in the comments. I can try and make them shorter, but I personally, I'm enjoying finding out about these things, and I need to just wrap it up. I'm waffling now at this point. But yeah, more updates coming soon. Hope you've enjoyed the recent updates. Very big main channel video coming soon. I haven't forgotten about the main channel gang. We've got a whole giant documentary about the St. Louis streets, the deadliest city in America. I've been very excited. We've got 3.5 hours of fire coming for you very soon, and I'm very excited to share that with you guys. But thanks for tapping in. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.